It's time for Ask Jesse. And again, you guys, awesome questions this week. Thank you so much for taking the time to ask them. It is extremely hard for me to pick and choose just one or two questions to answer. The way I pick them is I just kind of go off of my gut. When I'm reading through them, I go off a feel. What feels like this would be the best question for me to answer? So if I don't answer your question this week, be sure to ask it again this coming week, because at some point I'll get to it. Okay, let's get right to it. Question number 1 comes to us from Debbie Perez Suave. And you guys, if I mispronounce your name, please forgive me. So Debbie asks this: how can you stay motivated and focused on a goal when people around you do not have the same goals and motivation? Great question. So how do you stay focused on a goal and motivated for that goal when people around you do not have the same goals or motivation? There's a couple things. First, get new people around you. Surround yourself with new people. And I know that might be easier said than done, because a lot of times the people who oppose our goals are the people who are physically present in our lives, like our family. We can't really get rid of them all the time, as much as we may sometimes like to. So what you got to do instead is you got to find other resources, other people around you. And one of my coolest things I get to do is with the Zero Limits Mastermind and my exercise accountability group is there's people from all over the world who are like-minded, who go to each other via the internet to get help and support and motivation to their goals. It's amazing with like the Zero Limits Mastermind is because there's people in every time zone, and so there's always somebody on there that can access it and can help support, because a lot of people who are participating in the program don't necessarily have the physical support in their day-to-day life. So what they've done is they've valued their goals and their motivation more than the people, the naysayers in their life, telling them that they can or trying to bring them down. And so they've sought that external support elsewhere. So get the support elsewhere. It's important. It's super, super important. Surround yourself with new people. And what the great thing with the internet is that makes it totally possible and totally doable for us to all do. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is just remind yourself that those people are who they are. And that's up to you to accept them for who they are. Okay? A lot of times we get disappointed or let down by people because they don't have the same goals, motivation as us, because we expect them to be more like us. But they are them and we are us. Remember that. They are them and we are us. Meaning that they are going to be who they're going to be. And for us, it is our job to either accept them for how they are, or if we can't do that, we have to be willing to move on and get other people in our life that are going to be more like what we want. And if we're not willing to do that, we just got to accept it. And if we accept that, it'll give us some peace with it to allow us to just remind ourselves when they're doing things or saying things that, oh, that's just who they are. They don't necessarily mean harm by it. That's just who they are. Okay, so those are my 2 tips for you. Change the people who you're surrounding yourself with, and the people who you are surrounding yourself with, accept them for who they are and not who you'd like them to be, or how you would like to see them. Okay, great question. Question number 2 comes to us from Deanna Arnett. And Deanna asks, how do you get yourself out of a funk? Even someone as upbeat as you, oh, me, is surely down once in a while. What gets you out of it? So how do I get myself out of a funk? Well, first, to answer the kind of implied question, yes, I definitely end up in a funk at some point, and yes, I do find myself down at times. And I'm human, and so I go through my ups and downs in life just like everybody else. I'm a very emotional and very sensitive person. My sensitivity, I think, is one of my greatest gifts. It also, sometimes I might take things a little bit more personal than I could, or should, and they hurt. They feel like a little stab in my stomach, or more like my heart. So the first thing I do to help get myself out of a funk is I go and work out. Exercise is, without a doubt, the best and most effective and powerful and immediate way to shift. If you have an emotional challenge, the best way to shift your emotions is to shift your energy around. And I tell you, it is really hard to stay in a funk when you're working out really hard. And when I say exercise, I'm not going in there and saying, oh, gee, I'm really down. I hope doing some bicep curls is going to help. No, I'm going in there and I'm working hard. I'm forcing myself to work hard. And the harder I work, the better I start to feel. So that's the first thing I do. The second thing I try to do is I look at it from another perspective. I always try to get a separate perspective. Now, getting a separate perspective doesn't mean it's going to snap me out of my funk. What it's going to do is it's going to give me some space. It's going to give me some space to look at things more objectively and not so emotionally. So I'll remind myself that there's always a different way I can look at it, whatever is going on that's put me in the funk, and I'll look at it from that way. If I can't immediately see that way, I'll look harder, and if I still can't see it, I'll call and talk to somebody who I really trust or value. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3, what I'll do is I'll go online and watch some inspiring videos. I'll watch something that I know is going to motivate me. Watch something I know it's going to move me. So whether it's a motivational YouTube video like I hope this one is to you, or maybe it's I love watching the big battle scenes in Lord of the Rings. I love watching anything where there's the good triumphing over evil. You guys have all heard me talk about Transformers before, and there is more than one occasion where I will go on and watch Transformers battle scenes, even though I have them all memorized. It's just the emotion and the action, seeing childhood heroes come to life and fighting the bad guys and good triumphing over evil. I love that stuff. And those things help bring me into a more positive emotional place. So those are my top 3. Exercise, and when I say exercise, it's intense exercise. 2, looking at a different perspective. If I can't find that perspective, asking somebody who I value for that perspective. And 3, utilizing the internet as a resource and going online and watching some motivational videos that I know are going to shift my emotions around. Okay, you guys, that's all we got time for this week. Thank you so much for the awesome questions. And again, if you didn't get your question answered this time, be sure to keep asking it. Invite your friends and family to watch this video. Please share it with them if you find value in it. It only helps me to get my word and my message around. And I hope it brings more people into our 1,000 Challenge community. I'm loving doing this Ask Jesse thing. I hope you all are too. And I look forward to chatting with you all next week and doing more Ask Jesse. We'll see you then.